Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mike Rehling again, and I've got a review for you of a wonderful little book. It's a Buddha-themed haiku from around the world. It's called The Awakened One, and Agyei-Baah and Gabriel Rosenstock did the translations. You'll have some Japanese poems from, they said it, some of the greats and some of the minor haiku poets from Japan. And they're juxtaposed with poems from the modern day English language poets, many that you're authors that you're familiar with. I like this for a number of reasons. The first of all is the premise. And I've never seen it before. I'm sure somebody's thought about it and done it, and it's one of those things that gets discussed all the time, the relationship between Zen and haiku. You do not need to know Zen in order to do haiku, and you do not need to write haiku in order to know Zen. It's just that the two things are together in the one sense. By the way, confession's good for the soul. I have a 45-year practice myself, so I do enjoy meditation, and I do enjoy Zen. I also love haiku. In fact, the two of them started in similar ways because with me, in my own way, because I got into it, because once I got into Zen, I stumbled into all kinds of other things that were Japanese, and guess what? Haiku would be one of them. And back in 1965, I got to meet Alan Watts. He came to Michigan State University campus where I was going. So I got exposed to this both of them together, but they're not inextricably tied. And the two editors here have got it nailed down nicely. There's something really cool about Zen, is that you're just simply in tune with whatever's in front of you. You're not seeking an experience. You're not thinking about a past experience. Enlightenment is just being there. And that's one of the things that has tied haiku over the centuries to nature, is that connectedness that a lot of Western civilizations forgotten. Frankly, Japan has forgotten it sometimes, a good deal. And haiku, these little poems, capture those moments really well. Because if you're just moving from moment to moment. So I look out, by the way, as I'm doing this, I'm looking out a window. And there's a chipmunk playing by a log there, and there's trees. I got about 6 acres of old oak and pine. And so I think these editors have tapped into something, and no wonder I'm enjoying it. But they've done something really nice here. And I want to read you some of these, and I may murder some of the Japanese poems. I am not. I do not speak Japanese. But we'll read you some. Kairoku wrote this one. He lived from 1656 to 1715. Never heard of him before. Wild geese descend, cry upon cry, frosty night. And a poem from Jill Lang in the USA, Twilight, a part of me too, with the honking geese. Oh, I love that. And I love the fact that these two are placed here on the same page. And they really deal with it so beautifully. The connectedness you have, you're experiencing the frosty night, just like the wild geese who are descending into it. And in Jill's poem, a part of me too, with the honking geese. The geese are flying through twilight, and she's experiencing twilight. They're both experiencing it, one on one level, one on the other. That's a marvelous poem. So the editor's done a great job on that one. I give them an A+. And this one I enjoyed too, great deal. Shoah, 1727 to 1771. Sad stories whispered to the jellyfish by the sea slug. Yeah, I mean, you see the jellyfish washed up on shore and the sea slug is going by, and sad stories. And I think that that's a really fascinating poem. I'd never seen that poem before. So I've tried to read a lot of Japanese translations. Maybe it's the translation. By the way, these guys did the translations themselves. And on the same page, below it, Nikolai Grenkin from Russia wrote this. Sunrise, a caterpillar on the path to the stone Buddha. Here you are trudging your way toward the Buddha, and there's the caterpillar with 100 or maybe 1,000 legs sailing right up, and the sunrise on both of you. That's the whole theme here, and when you read it, look at every single one of them that way. What they have done here is put these poems together in such a way that you can't miss the connectedness. And these haiku are pretty astounding. And this one by Issa, 1763 to 1828. Falling from my heart, the snows of Shinano. Falling from my heart. I love that image. And this one by Mauve O'Sullivan from Ireland. Shinabazu Pond. Even these withered lotuses can lift my heart. Isn't that something? Both of these poems express how the poet was relating to some experience, something happening independent of them in nature. The falling from my heart, the snows, and these withered lotuses can lift my heart. And that is the truth. That is the truth. The movement of nature, both the snow and the lotuses are moving along a path. I love it. I mean, I don't know how they did this, but exactly, or how they came to this idea, but it's a brilliant idea. And this one, which by the way, I wasn't planning on reading, but I just saw it. When my eyes fall out of their sockets, I wish to see the lotus. Tessu, 1836 to 1888. And the response on the page from Kala Ramesh, one of my favorites from India. Lotus viewing, the flowering within. And that's what nature does to you. There's a transference, if you will. When you're paying attention to nature, all of a sudden something great happens. You become it, and it becomes you. That is so good. And this one, Haiku, 1911 to 1936. And by the way, this is one that I've seen many times. This is a nice translation of it. A cricket chirps. Now my life is clear. A cricket chirps. Now my life is clear. And the response by Tom Beverett from USA. Amitabha, a cricket chirps in the rain. Crickets or something. And what this says in both of these poems, whether it's one from today or it's one from 100 years ago, is that sometimes we're walking along and we're thinking about stuff and we're wondering what we're going to do, and will inflation ruin my budget or whatever is in your mind. And all of a sudden something happens in nature that just clicks the switch off. A cricket chirps, and all of a sudden, I don't care about inflation anymore. I don't care about it now anymore. And one more that I'm gonna do for you, and these are two favorite poets of mine. Hosai, 1885 to 1926. I meditate. A mud snail begins to walk. And Owen Bullock, Australia. Meditation, the breath I am. Oh. Boy, Owen, you knocked the cover off the ball with that one. And I'll tell you, again, this is just one of those interesting little books. You can hold it in your hand. It's available on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle for a couple of bucks, by the way, so you don't have to go broke on this one. $8.95. You can have the hard copy. And let me tell you something. I think you will enjoy it. And even if you don't care about Zen, if all you care about is haiku, you're going to see the connection that occurred there. And Eric Amen and many others from the 60s saw it too. Those were the people that dragged me by their writing into haiku. They all had that same feeling. So Adjei, Gabriel, you did good. And I highly recommend this book. I've had a ball just reading the poems, but there's plenty more in here for you. And I don't think you can help but enjoy.